Happy Friday, everyone, and good morning to each of you. As you can see, I am on the home page of Prince Hall Grand Lodge. And who is Prince Hall? Well, I'm going to introduce you all to who Prince Hall is. And I'm going to start off by reading you the information that is on the home page. And it reads, The history of Prince Hall, the father of Black Masonry in the United States of America. Black Freemasonry began when Prince Hall and 14 other free black men were initiated by members of Lodge Number 441 Irish Constitution, attached to one of General Gage's regiments, the 38th Regiment of Foot, British Army garnished at Castle Williams Island, now Fort Independence, Boston Harbor on March 6, 1775. The master of Lodge Number 441 was Sergeant John Batt, along with Prince Hall. The others were Peter Freeman, Benjamin Tibber, Duff Buffum, Thomas Sanderson, Prince Peyton, Cato Speen, Boston Smith, Peter Best, Fortin Howard, and Richard Tilley. There is some variance in the spellings of the names depending on the source. When the British Army left Boston, Lodge Number 441 granted Prince Hall and his brethren authority to meet as a lodge and go into procession on St. John's Day. They were also given authority to bury their dead. However, they could not confer degrees or perform any other Masonic work. So far what we've gathered is that Prince Hall is the founder of the Black Masonic Order in the United States of America. After Lodge Number 1 was organized on July 3, 1775, with Prince Hall as worshipful master, official acknowledgments of the legitimacy of African Lodge Number 1 was made almost immediately by John Rowe of Boston, a provincial Grand Master of North America, holding authority from Premier Grand Lodge of Freemasons, the Grand Lodge of England. He too issued a permit authorizing African Lodge Number 1 to appear publicly in procession as a Masonic body for the purpose of celebrating the feast of St. John and to bury the dead. We've also gathered that after they were acknowledged as a Masonic body, they were able to bury their dead. So, by the end of the American Revolution in 1781, America, predominantly white lodges had began declaring independence from the English Grand Lodge. They were not interested in granting a chapter to Prince Hall or African Lodge, although the members of African Lodge 1 were free men. Black men were automatically assumed by the Masonic colonists to have obligations to masters. So at that time, they were still under the influence that even though these black Freemasons, these men who were wanting to become Freemasons in the United States of America, were still under the authority of white Masons. So basically, still under the rule of slavery. Thus, predominantly white lodges in America were not interested in reciprocal recognition with African Lodge, nor were they interested in bringing them under their jurisdiction. So basically, they didn't even want to have anything to do with them. Okay? So, the charter. On March 2nd, 1784, and June 30th, 30th, 1784, African Lodge Number 1 petitioned the Grand Lodge of England for a warrant or chapter to organize a regular Masonic lodge, with all the rights and privileges thereunto prescribed. Prince Hall petitioned the Grand Lodge of England through Worshipful Master William Moody of Brotherly Love Lodge Number 55 of London, England, for a warrant or chapter. The chapter was prepared and issued on September 29, 1784, although it would be 3 years before African Lodge actually received it. The Grand Lodge of England assigned number 459 to African Lodge number 1. Captain James Scott delivered the chapter on April 29, 1787. Captain James Scott was master of the Neptune and also worked with John Hancock, who was one of the signers of the Declaration of Independence. By virtue of authority of this chapter, African Lodge number 459 was organized 1 week later and began work as a regular Masonic body on May 6, 1787. The warrant to African Lodge number 459 of Boston is the most significant and highly prized document known to the Prince Hall Masonic fraternity. It is also the only known chapter in existence in America issued by the Grand Lodge of England. So basically, Prince Hall, who is the father of the Black Masonic body in the United States of America, had to get permission from his white counterparts whom came from England. Okay, so apparently the Masonic body and order was actually established in England by white men a long, long time ago. Subsequently, to establish Lodge number 459 of Boston, Prince Hall established African Lodge number 459 F and AM of North America at Philadelphia in 1797, and also a lodge at Providence, Rhode Island. Shortly thereafter, he chartered Union Lodge number 3 at Laurel Lodge number 4 of Pennsylvania. These lodges remained subordinate to the Mother Lodge in Massachusetts until December 27, 1815, at which time the three Pennsylvania lodges met in General Assembly and organized African Grand Lodge of North America with jurisdiction over Pennsylvania and the South, including the District of Columbia. Thus, we have the succession of events leading up to the petitioning of the subject Grand Lodge in Washington, D.C. by the founders of the Social Lodge. Okay, guys, so this bit of history information is brought to you to clear up how the Black Masonic Order was established. I'm going to make this video short, but in the next episode of the history of Black Masonry in the United States of America, we're going to continue to stay on this page, and we are going to go through all of these little tabs right here. We're going to read about the district deputies, the community involvement, the constituent lodges, and everything else, the resources that they have available to the communities in the United States of America. Now, what I'm going to tell you from personal experiences being in the church and working alongside with other community activists in my community. What people don't know is that Freemasons, whom a lot of people try to make out to be this demonic, evil fraternity, 9 times out of 10, if you live in a Black community, if you have ever been in need of anything, you have probably come in contact with a Freemason and didn't even know it. Whether they were feeding the hungry, delivering food to the schools, extra food that they raise money to get for young children in the kindergarten and Head Start classes, um, giving out money to people to pay their electric bills. You probably, if you have been one of these people who have ever been in need of any kind of community assistance, when you've fallen short on hard times, 9 times out of 10, you have come in contact with a Freemason. So I'm going to do another, this is going to probably be about a 3 or 4 part series on Freemasonry. We're going to get into their community involvement. Um, I can't, I wouldn't be able to get get into any of the secrecies behind Freemasons because it's a secret. So I just want to caution you guys ahead of time. If you see anybody claiming to have any secret information, or they're going into in-depth details about Freemasonry and the things that they do inside of the fraternity, please be aware that these people may not be telling the truth. And the only way that they would be telling the truth is if they were a Freemason and broke away from the fraternity. Heads up to each and every one of you guys on the stories about Freemasonry. Okay? We're going to take it back to the beginning. As we have learned, Prince Hall, who was an abolitionist in those times, is the father of the Black Freemasonry in the United States of America. You guys have a great and wonderful day.